Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Today we're going to talk about it being censorship. Shadow banning and all that. I relatively new. I think I made a year on. I didn't realize I've been on here a year on X, and I noticed something years ago. I was on Facebook. Believe it or not, I'm a very early millennial. So I started out on MySpace, um, and I really like MySpace. But my colleagues and friends got on Facebook um, when I was in law school, and I said, "Fuck it." I tried to avoid it. I was going to stay on MySpace, but I got on Facebook. And back to the topic at hand. Um, I did well on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? I did well, had followers and, likes and my liking apparatus, people would like stuff I posted, and something happened around 2015ish where I realized I would post a bomb ass picture or something and just nobody would like it. I was like, what the hell? And I was told about shadow banning. Professor Chris Hedges talked about shadow banning. Um, Professor Chris Hedges says the internet apparatus, the online apparatus, is opaque. I like that word, meaning that the powers that be can see every fucking thing we do, but we don't know what they're. It's like a one-way mirror, or two-way mirror, however you say that thing. Well, my question today, I'm begging the question: are we being censored? Are other ethnic groups being censored? I mean, let me go ahead and give some evidence about that, right? We fuck around and say something that questions any ethnic group, and we get banned. I had a YouTube channel for my undergrads years ago. And it was bomb. I would teach through YouTube, and on my YouTube channel. Um, I It was completely academic. I wasn't this personality. This is the real me, but I was kind of like the fake college me. And I didn't cuss, and I was real careful because admin would be watching my shit. Well, I posted clip, one recorded clip where I talked about January 6th. And I said some things, and I was, really praising, the apparatus of the United States, praising the National Guard. And, I was real careful about how I said things. But just by me bringing up January 6th, they deleted my whole YouTube channel. Like, so that got my attention. This is in 2021, 22. So I start looking around at some of my other friends from the other side of the railroad track, if y'all know what I'm talking about. And they saying all kind of shit and nothing happens. I noticed there are people from other side of the railroad track saying nigga, 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 nigga. Nothing happens, right? But if you fuck around and say something that could even be perceived as a racial slur, strike. Like, in conclusion, let's look at some of the numbers of YouTube channels. Like we got superstars on YouTube, Foundational Black American, just fucking rock stars whose numbers haven't changed, right? They get stuck at a certain number. Whereas you have people from the other side of the railroad tracks, numbers skyrocketing. So the question that stands tonight is: are we being censored? Is it balanced? Are other ethnic groups being censored like us? What do y'all think about that?
I think we definitely are. People that have our message are suppressed, stuck on certain numbers that don't even make sense, while people that have the message that they want to push seem to just keep growing, millions and millions of followers to the point where we were called bots. And we had to come out and defend ourselves. I mean, fine, they pushed us down so far that we literally had to come out and start talking in articles and defending ourselves on live TV, which is good. But really, when we started, people just felt like, oh, this is a small group. Yeah, we can see that one guy is pushing them, and we know about Jason Black. They know about it, but they feel like if they just suppress it down and then they want to inflate all the BS, all the pseudo people talking, all the people talking about, where are the slave ships, the transatlantic slave trade didn't happen, all of that, those people have astronomical numbers. And they don't even get accused of denying a homicidal event. They don't get accused of denying a genocidal event. They just get to keep on talking. So even amongst people of African descent, we can see the stuff that they boost up and the things that they let fly. And we can see when you're really speaking about something intellectual or educational or just straight facts, they don't like that. They like the BS.
Yeah, they promote the BS, and I don't have a manufacturing consent with me. I left it at my Atlanta residence. But manufacturing consent, the book we talked about, I touched on last night, really talked about that. Professor Noam Chomsky said that the media apparatus manufactures consent amongst the people. It manufactures, basically, it utilizes specific uh, um, tropes and isms to make the American people believe a certain way. And according to Dr. Chomsky, ultimately, the function that serves is creating a class system where the media apparatus is saying this group of people act like this, and this group A acts like this, and group B acts like this, and group C is subservient. So the way you manufacture that consent, like Wani was saying, is you if you're behind the opaque window of controlling social media, you will give approval to group C, right? Being a damn fool. So the memo is, okay, if group C has a video showing them fighting or fucking robbing a liquor store or whatever the system wants to promote, boost it, boost the signal, right? But however, if um, group C has a scholarly, educational value post where they're talking about where they're uplifting the people, suppress it. We see that happen with our brother Tariq Nasheed. There is no way that Tariq, his numbers should be through the roof. So many people watch his channel religiously. Like, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? But it's suppressed from internal wheels and levers of power.
Are we supposed to believe that Roland Martin has all those viewers? He does not. It's impossible. He bought those viewers. He bought those numbers. He cannot have those numbers. Nobody even talks about him or likes him. And when we see the engagement, there is none. Go ahead, Kanye.
Wait a minute. Yeah, yeah. Matter of fact, when you watching his lives, nobody's in his lives on his YouTube.
Right.
Nobody is in there. You'll see people that have 10,000. They'll have less than 20,000 followers, and in their lives they'll have more engagement than he does. Also with Tariq, it's very frustrating. I'm gonna have to help him come up. I'm gonna have to talk to him about this because we don't receive notifications. I have had him on notifications for years, and now I don't receive any notifications. And just my little channel, people don't. I've people who have me on notifications. They don't receive notifications for the videos that I put up. So something definitely stinks, and it's something that recently happened while the election was going on. So will have to look further into that. But no, nobody watches. Nobody watches. What's his name? Roland Martin. I forgot his name that
Mhm.
quick. Nobody watches.
Because it's not interesting. I've tried to sit through one of his things. He spends half of his show cussing out his cameraman.
Check your DM, Wani.
Yeah, cussing out his cameraman and looking at gay videos, like posting gay videos. Yeah.
Go ahead,
So go ahead,
Kanye.
Kanye.
Oh yeah, check your DM real quick, Wani. Just real quick. So yeah, no, I agree with you, Professor, 100%. Uh, and also what Wani was saying earlier. There's a saying that says you don't fix the feet on a winning horse. So the algorithm will stereotype the hell out of you. If you're saying something to kind of defy what they want you to be or the box they want to put you in, they definitely shadow ban how you. And the reason why people like Roland Martin and all of those other sellouts can get as much engagement as they get is because the algorithm favors it, right? And you take a look at somebody like Tariq or even the things that you do or I post on here, doesn't get as much traction. And you got to think about it, right? What we're saying is deemed controversial. Now, the only way you can tell if you shadow ban now, there used to be a site you can go to, but Twitter has this thing now where you can sign up for community notes and they give you an option to apply and they'll tell you what you need. And if you have no violations at all, if it say you can't do it, that means you probably shadow ban. So they do it to accounts big or small. There's a guy on the app. His name is Ian Miles, and he posts nothing but black people fighting all day long, and he finds the most stereotypical stuff to post, and us all he posts. And I remember watching him go from like maybe 15,000 followers to I think he's like 800,000 right now, and he has nowhere near the amount of reach Tariq Nasheed or Hotep Jesus or anybody that looks like us or anybody black American would actually have. But they're slandering us. So you see my DM on him?
Yes.
All right, cool. So just be careful with that guy. He's a troll. But yeah,
Thank
that's
you
all I
for
want to
sending
add.
that. Thank you for sending that. I don't even know who that is. Is he following us? Because
Yeah,
he's
and speaking
following
of,
me.
No, he's on stage. It look like.
Oh,
he's on
why
stage.
is
Oh,
he
oh,
Hey,
following me?
Kanye,
tell me who it is.
hey, Kanye, slip
My
me that
first
DM.
ankle
I
monitor.
got you.
Yeah,
That's
just
my
just tell
first
everybody.
ankle monitor.
Get the
Who's
fuck.
this?
Little tights.
Dude, what is wrong with you?
I just removed his ass. Hold on.
Next time, don't. Next time, just tell all of us. Just tell us all, and then we'll just get them off because that that causes a problem too because these are uploaded to YouTube, so you
Yeah,
don't know what these people are gonna say. So just tell us all when there's a troll.
yeah,
Matter of
yeah.
fact, if it's somebody who we don't know, we just shouldn't let them up. We pretty much know who's coming up now, and they start putting crazy stuff in a jumbotron.
Yeah, yeah, they got us
Yeah.
yesterday, but
Well,
I
yeah, he
What
didn't
was
put
that?
anything yet, and then if I alert everybody, then he'll just start spamming the
Yeah,
jumbotrons.
but you just tell all of us in the back channel, just all three of us, just because one of us will get them down.
right, right, right. But thank you for the alert, Kanye. So back to media censorship. I have one question about that. How are people allowed to say the N word like over and over and again? I've like
They just decided that that's so, well, with Elon Musk, they just decided that that's okay. The rules change. I want everyone to know, though, that a lot of the people that, um, that you are reporting it to, it's just a pack of foreigners. And it's going to be a pack of anti-black foreigners. Because that's all there is. There's no other kind of foreigner. They're all anti-black foreigners. So you're complaining to some Hindu person who thinks you're an untouchable and you're saying, "Oh, they called me this name." Well, how much traction are you going to really get? You see what I'm saying? So I know who we're complaining to. Nobody.
right, right, right. Dr. Howard Zinn said racial frustration became a substitute for the problems that foreign immigrants are dealing with. We saw it with the Irish. You know, you're coming from a place where you're starving to death during a potato famine, right? And to keep their minds off the fact that, man, you know what? I had to like run away from my homeland and I'm starving half to death. Look at them black folk. Focus on them. And that's been the fucking playbook the whole time. Come on, Seventh Ward.
Hey, good evening. So people get shadow banned a lot. I'll tell y'all a little story. I got shadow banned on YouTube, and what got me shadow banned of all things uh was O.J. Simpson trial. Someone uploaded the entire trial on YouTube, so I started watching it, and I started putting in comments, little timestamps like, "Hey, this proves that this part of the DNA evidence is erroneous and all that." And then people started engaging me in the comments, just saying I don't know shit and stuff like that. So I start refuting their arguments point by point, and eventually I noticed uh, that I could see my comments, but when I logged off and just read the comments, no one could see my comments refuting the points. And so yeah, so that's when I noticed that YouTube is controlled by white supremacists, because they must have algorithms in place to stop me to stop stuff like that. So with that, I yield the mic.
Yeah, and Facebook as well. I agree. Facebook and YouTube are very interesting with respect to that. So, what are we looking at, ladies and gentlemen? In the 1960s, during the Vietnam War, we had a new era of journalism, and the camera technology was getting got a lot better. What I mean by that is they were making portable cameras to take into combat, and we had some very brave journalists go over, and they were allowed, the army allowed for cameramen to be attached to certain units and just film during combat, which boosted ratings. It was a good idea, but what the government apparatus noticed in their analysis is, yes, NBC and ABC were getting extremely boosted ratings because, I mean, let's be real, those Vietnam War documentaries were just interesting, right? Well, they realized at the same time ratings were being boosted, enlistment into the military service in the United States was going down, and they got a correlation. They say it's a correlation between youngsters watching our young men getting shot up, and people saying, you know what, I'm not going to do that. And matter of fact, showing dead bodies being taken out of Vietnam was a huge deterrent for enlistment, which is one of the reasons the draft got activated. Well, why am I bringing that up? I'm bringing it up because that lesson learned during the Vietnam War has been superimposed on social media. The lesson, if I should break it down in one sentence, is if you show the people what's really going on, they will make informed decisions. I, it's my opinion that some power apparatuses or apparati, however you say that, don't want us to make informed decisions. They make more money off of us making poor decisions, such as um, if you think about marriage, um, the corporate structure realized in the 70s that they would make more money if they divorced people because women, if you divorce man and woman, the woman will buy a dryer and the man will buy a dryer. So you got two dryers as opposed to a married couple makes one. So I went around the bend to say that the this structure is trying to keep us away from making informed decisions so it can brainwash us by manufacturing consent for what the system wants. And I'm seeing that on social media is supercharged. They're promoting narratives and eliminating truth.
One good thing is that I've noticed a lot of people that are very insufferable imbeciles, Democrats, are genuinely angry and have left. So that's good. That's a good thing that's actually happened on social media because Sunny Hostin has just deleted her account and they're storming out in a huff. And did she just attack black men and call them imbeciles? Lady, shut up and get off the airways. I need that video where that guy said, "Get that shit off the airwaves." That was funny as shit.
Yeah, but why are they just now getting mad at Twitter? Why didn't they
No,
have a
they're
problem?
mad. No, they're mad because they lost the election and they have stormed out in a huff. This is them storming. They think someone cares. Okay, Gabrielle Union, I'm gonna leave at who cares? No one even likes you. They think you're a weirdo. Okay? Who likes this person? Nobody. Because anyone who likes her doesn't like children. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Mm,
Go ahead.
go ahead, Kanye.
Go ahead,
Oh, you
Kanye.
see okay, you see the video I sent you, Professor? For some reason, it doesn't let me DM you like immediately. I have to like literally scroll through. But but yeah, no. Just to touch on what Wani was saying, no, these people are evil. Uh, and they like evil stuff. The Sunny Broad, though, I do think. I don't know if you guys saw the report, but ABC is looking for more conservative voices to drown out all of the anti-Trump ones. And I think it's less anti-Trump and more anti-woke, right? I mean, the people don't like the woke stuff. You look at their ratings and it dropped 75%. So that's the scary part for them because it's not about morality for the networks, it's about revenue. And if virtue signaling isn't profitable anymore, they're gonna stop that shit real quick. Because I remember a time during TV where people kept their politics out of it. They didn't really talk about who they was voting for and why or anything like that. For this very reason, it ruins the network. Because the people you voting for or you pushing for somehow lose, the ratings drop. Like CNN was at its all time high when Trump was in office. And I think they're trying to relive their glory days. But I think what they're missing is, unlike last time, most of the country is over the woke shit. So I don't know. It's interesting to see what happened. But another reason, kind of going back to the title, is black media being censored, of course, because we're just more entertaining. Um, and I think that's something that Ben Shapiro, people like was Matt Walsh and Charlie Kirk were afraid of, which why you've seen them kind of trying to attack or steal from black influencers because if black influencers start to come on the right, they feel threatened by that. People like Candace Owens, she was like the only person over there. Then when you get somebody like a Sonny Johnson, shout out to Sonny, who actually tells the truth and doesn't sell out and more entertaining, it threatens their position. So it's almost like a self-preservation thing, kind of like the union was. Like think about it, right? You take a look at you watch Tariq shows. He does his shows, he does his lives. They're far more entertaining than anything Ben Shapiro is doing. If he gets that big, imagine what it does to their platform. They start to shrink. And then he's a bipartisan platform, by the way. So it's kind of scary for them.
Um, I was just going to complain about my career on Facebook. I was on Facebook, and yes, this is going to be shocking. I was writing articles for a Nigerian man that lived in Paris. I didn't know any better. Anyway, I was writing, I was writing these. They were all just, stories about people of African descent, Black Americans, whoever was doing something that had African descent. I posted the story up, and do you know? And it was all positive stories. It didn't matter. This was like 2013, and I kept getting suspended. And I wasn't doing I wasn't doing anything. I was just posting positive stories. Somebody, invented something. Somebody got into college. Somebody did something. Somebody has a degree at 13 years old. And they kept suspending me because people who kept complaining. So every time a white person would get jealous and complain about it, like one time I posted something controversial. I just posted the Olmec heads, and some Native American woman came in there. And those people are Mexican, blah blah blah. We have Mexicans that look like that. She starts screaming. Next thing I know, I'm suspended. But it seems so easy to suspend me when I'm really not doing anything wrong
I,
on those platforms.
I want to say something interesting right quick, Wani. I went silent for a minute because while Kanye was talking, they crashed my app.
Oh, I was wondering, was there a
I thought,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
That's when I went.
Wow.
That's when I went on a rant.
yeah, I had to like restart my whole phone. So apparently we got their attention. So let's go in. Let's go in there. Yeah, this is a
That's
very.
what this, yeah,
Go
that's
ahead.
what
Did
this
you see the
is
video I
about.
sent you
Let's just
though?
talk about it. Let's just talk about it. Just go in. Go all the way in, Professor.
Yeah, yeah. Kanye, I tried. I was looking for the video, and that's when it my app locked up. So could you describe the video? My app is acting very strange. Like,
Yeah, so anytime I try to send you something, like literally anytime, like when I go to my search thing, your name doesn't even really pop up. I have to
wow.
scroll all the way down. And I had the question, so am I spelling professor wrong? I know I'm not an idiot. Professor. I'm like, oh. So when I type it in, if you see the video, it just shows me typing it in. and you see like I have to scroll all the way down to see your name,
Wow.
so it don't even pop up really. So I don't know what that is about.
We're being censored. We're being shadow banned. I have that issue with Tariq Nasheed. Like I followed, got, hit the button on that says get notifications. Like it deselects my notifications button. It deselects it on YouTube. It deselects it. I have to select it over and over and over again. I had to do that with Nikki as well. Like I'm like, what's going on here? It's being manipulated from unseen hands to manufacture consent. Apparently, the truth that we're spitting on X has got a lot of people's attention. And my theory on that is this last election cycle. That's my theory. The Black, talk to us.
What's going on, everybody? I I want to say when it come down to Nikki, Facebook, I mean YouTube page, it does me the same way. That's the reason why I make sure I got check notifications when it come down to your page and Tariq page, because I don't really see how he every time he go on make a space, it stop at 1,200 people, 1,300 people, it never passed that. Like that never made no sense to me. I really feel like it's a censorship. But on YouTube, if you read part of the new updated terms and conditions, some part of Black history is considered conspiracy theory,
Wow.
and so you gotta say certain things certain ways, just like Facebook. Certain parts of history is considered conspiracy theory. So that's like I lost two YouTube pages, and I just started over, and I've been stuck at 100 people for for the last 2 months. So yeah, it just depends on what you say and how you say it. Like you said earlier when it came down to your page, your last YouTube page, you said everything the correct way, and that's basically how they want us to talk. They want us to talk politically correct and use their terms and terminologies so it won't ruffle any feathers and make people feel uncomfortable.
Well, I have another point of view on that. I think that this hidden, opaque, to quote Professor Chris Hedges, apparatus wants us to talk like damn fools. I think it has a need for us to be buffoons, right? Because on my YouTube channel that I lost, all I did was identify that there was. I didn't use the word insurrection, but I showed video and identified what happened at the White House, and I was telling it to to students, and that crap, like they took my page for that. I never got an explanation. I think that I was, as a black man, clearly articulating a very serious event in American history. And no, 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 can't have that. You're supposed to be somewhere, twerking or robbing a liquor store or something. It's called manufacturing consent. Manufacturing consent of the public. Um, Professor Noam Chomsky in his book talks about two categories, and it's very fascinating how he puts it. He says worthy, that's WORTHY, worthy victims and unworthy victims. So, what's a worthy? What does that mean? Victims who are worthy of sympathy. And this shit gets deep. So, Dr. Chomsky argues in his book that the media apparatus, through sheer numbers, ladies and gentlemen, everything is a number. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But he says, through sheer numbers, the media apparatus manufactures consent for certain groups who are considered worthy of sympathy. I bet y'all can guess what groups those are, right? Um, and he says on the flip side, the media apparatus manufactures discontent for those considered unworthy. So basically, you could have a story. Let's say a young. Oh damn! Let me give you one I grew up with. Like, come on, let's do this. In the late '90s and early 2000s, when I was in high school, um, black high schools used to get shot up all the time. I mean, my high school would get shot up once a month. The high school down the street in West End would get shot up every week. People would get killed all the time. Never made the news. And if it made the news, it was just a little bitty article, right? West End High School had shooting. right? So in 1999, and I hate the idea of school shootings. I hope they never happen. I wish we could fix those. No school deserves to get shot up. Let me be clear about that. But in 1999, two Caucasian men shot up Columbine, um, and killed some people. Unfortunately, that was all over the news. People burning candles, people holding candles, praying. Documentaries were done after that. That goes to Professor Noam Chomsky's book. What that did was bring an outrageous amount of attention and sympathy for children who were not black. Do that over time, and you create a social hierarchy where people say, "Oh, that black person got hurt. Well, he probably deserved to get hurt." And on the flip side, somebody who's not black um, cuts his toe, and it's like, oh, what can I do for you? And that trickles down to socioeconomics. It's a very sophisticated idea, but it's real. Come on, Seventh Ward.
Yeah, so that shooting you talked about, and you didn't mention it, so I'm going to not mention it too, but it happened on a certain day in 1999. It happened on April 20th. They chose that day for a reason, and the media never pointed out what's special about that day. And I don't know if you want me to say what makes that day special, April 20th, but if you give me permission, I'll say what it
Well,
is.
I'm hearing 420, so go for it.
You mean Hitler's birthday?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, damn! I thought you meant to get high. Um,
Oh, yeah, that
No,
too,
yeah,
but
it's Hitler's birthday. I hate that because that's the day after my birthday. Like that's
Oh
crazy.
man, you have them tendencies.
yeah, yeah, but
No, no, no. I'm an Aries. That's a
I'm
Taurus.
joking with you.
I'm an
yeah,
Aries.
yeah, but they
I'm
purposely
going.
chose that day, and on the tapes, which I don't think has been fully released. They say they wanted to punish all of humanity.
wow.
Who, the Columbine kids?
Yeah, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold.
So they weren't just geeks that couldn't get laid and got mad?
Uh, well, maybe, but but they never said how they
That's what
got
happened to the
their.
guy at Virginia Tech. He said they
Yeah,
wanted.
I mean,
Okay.
but
What
they
what tell me about it because I've watched a couple of documentaries. Actually, I have a different perception about why they got popular. I don't know why
trench coat
certain
mafia.
hmm?
They were part of a clique called the Trench Coat Mafia.
Right. I don't know why certain incidences get popular, like George Floyd was very popular, but you could have a similarly horrible incident and it doesn't get popular. Or you can have a horrible incident like with the college student getting killed by the um, illegal immigrant, and it doesn't cause people to just lose their minds and march in the street and say, "Hey, what's up with this immigration?" We've had Venezuelan people running around, taking over buildings, demanding rent from people, um, murdering girls, serial killing, and for some reason, this doesn't cause a reaction, and yet this case did. I think it might be related to the fact that it was the location was an unexpected location, an unexpected place for violence. Those kids, they just look like nerds. I think people just didn't understand the incel culture, or the angry white males that aren't getting their way. People did not understand that. I think they understand it now because they do this regularly. We have mass shootings all the time.
But that goes back to Chomsky's book. He says that certain groups. And let's talk about some facts right quick. Human beings are human beings, and every group of human beings are going to has their ne'er do wells and their superstars. That's the law of averages. It's humanity. Well, according to Chomsky, those trench coat mafia people, like y'all just said, that was not supposed to happen in that neighborhood. That was not supposed to happen against this particular ethnic group. Now, on its face, that sounds like nonsense. It can happen anywhere. We know that, like they say on Shrek, people are like onions, right? It depends. It can happen. It can happen anywhere. But the media manufactured consent. It manufactured sympathy for that particular group. It said, "Hey, newsflash, this is not supposed to happen here. Let's study this. Newsflash, look at these children. It's so unfortunate, and it is unfortunate. And let me get that clear. It's unfortunate that they lost their lives and got traumatized like that. But you know what? It's also unfortunate in the hood, in the neighborhoods in Birmingham, Alabama, and Chicago. They get shot up all the time, and babies are getting killed, and you never hear about it. Why is that not being promoted? Because the media apparatus is manufacturing discontent for the black kids. The black kid gets shot. Oh, that's just what happens over there. The media is powerful. And on social,
I,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, I've actually heard some people articulate that. Um, Parents of killed adults, like their daughter was killed or whatever, and they'll really will sit there and say, "Oh, that's not supposed to happen to us. Why? Why do you think you're not supposed to die?" It really makes you not have sympathy for people that are so pompous that you can't even feel sorry for them losing their children because they're trying to flex their position in life, and it overrides the suffering that they've gone through when they've lost their child to violent crime. But why don't they think that could happen to them? They have guns and they have angry people. So, like, who's exempt from getting killed? Let me know.
Yeah, go ahead, Kanye.
Funny thing about it is that's the exact same thing they said with the Ukrainian war. I remember watching the news, just I was kind of curious what was going on. And I had heard whispers the Russians were gonna make a move. It was only a matter of time. But long story short, they were blowing them up. There's guys on they was coming on it. And it really went from me feeling like, oh wow. I was indifferent toward the whole thing, but it went from that to me kind of chuckling. Because the guy was like, This is Europe. These are he said as on my said these are blonde hair, blue eyed people. They have Netflix, they have Instagram, and they're dying. I'm just I'm just like, what the
I heard
fuck?
that.
Yo, I swear, like, what do you think is gonna happen, man? And then, so I got some friends who still do some contract work, but to make a long story short, they do extractions for very wealthy people. But, yeah, the Russians are not showing them any type of mercy. The blonde hair and blue eyes ain't saving them for shit. Especially when they trying to reach the objective. Anybody know anything about the Russian army? They are very, very, very ruthless in nature. So it was sad thing to watch. But it's like the arrogance, like you said, it's like, wait, you really think? That this wasn't gonna happen? Y'all thought y'all was gonna keep fucking with these people and nothing was gonna come from it? I don't know. But yeah, no. Some people think that they are exempt from being shot, which is why you see a lot of these people when you look at the police report and who the police kill the most of, well, they don't actually kill us as much as they kill them. Now, you can say it's because there are a lot more people than us, and that's true to a certain extent. However, the other problem with that is they are far more arrogant and defiant when it comes to the police officers, right? And they forget that some people just want to shoot somebody. People join the military and the police force for two reasons, right? Well, a few reasons, right? So, maybe a job, patriot thing, tradition, and some people just want a legal means to shoot a motherfucker. And people forget it don't really matter to some people who they shoot. And you go watch videos and you'll see them getting shot. And no lie, a lot of times they be asking for it. I'm talking about the Europeans. I'm not putting a knife down. I'm not putting the gun down. And next thing you know, they shot the fuck up. So they have this arrogance that they think their skin and their I don't know, whatever. It just need to protect them, and then and it's rude awakening when they don't. But I always thought that was strange, like you said, when they get on TV and say shit like, "Well, it's not supposed to be happening to us." Well, who's it supposed to be happening to? See, when they say that, that means they're an acceptable group for it to happen to, and therefore don't touch us. Because the guy even said on the thing, he was like, "This isn't some third world country. This is Europe. We got Netflix."
Wow.
But, that was so weird for him to say that. White people with blonde hair have completely butchered each other in history. They have obliterated each other. And we're not, when we talk about who's getting the press, in reality, that white country, both of them are not getting any press. They are killing the crap out of each other. And it's not funny because they're going against the Geneva Convention. They're tying each other to poles. They're torturing each other. I literally saw a man shoot a 9-year-old girl in the head when her parents were going through a checkpoint to get the hell up out of Dodge. They shot her in the head just to be smart. Like, ha, we'll show you. We're not playing games. They're doing anything. And we will be finding pits of, when this is all over, there'll be pits of bodies. And we'll be talking about, crimes against humanity, Geneva Convention violations, and all the rest of it. They're leaving pits of bodies. It's a complete disaster over there. But just because those news cameras have moved over to the Middle East, we're not talking about that anymore. I don't know what's going on. Don't even ask me the ins and outs of why Ukraine and Russia are going at it this bad. But it really is. It's going to be bad, and they are very white, and white people have been killing each other for centuries. I
Yeah,
mean, for thousands of years.
it interrupts the narrative, and there's a socioeconomic motivation behind this. What am I talking about? I'm talking about there's a social hierarchy in the United States that's kind of been superimposed on the larger world, but the social hierarchy is well, to understand the social hierarchy, you have to look at the social hierarchy of England, of Europe. Europe was a monarchy, right? Uh, the order of operation in the monarchy was king and queen. The king is the owner of all land. Below them was the noble class. You couldn't really be, you had to be born into the kingship or queenship. And 90% of the time, you had to be born into the noble class, although there were few exceptions. Um, Below the noble class, you had the protectors of the noble class, the knights, right? The knights protected Her Majesty and the nobles against the rest of us, which were the serfs and the peasants. The books say peasants and serfs, but that's kind of out of order because the serfs were allowed to work. Basically, most of us on this channel right now are serfs, allowed to work and manage land that really didn't belong to us because it belonged to the king, and the people begging for bread on the street were the peasants. That's the order of operations. So the concept of black people was an invention because, according to Dr. Claude Anderson, and I'm paraphrasing him, uh, America is based off the royalist system. So you had Europeans who were peasants and serfs, mostly peasants. They wanted their chance at royalty, so they created the word white to differentiate between their lineage, their racial lineage, and our racial lineage. So it's a money thing. So how does that tie into what we're talking about? You need to sustain that system. You need to scapegoat the peasants and serfs, especially the peasants. You need some type of way to manufacture discontent for the bottom of the food chain. You have to subconsciously and consciously, but especially subconsciously, make people believe that those people at the bottom, those black people, deserve to be there. That's just what they do. And the way you do it is through the media apparatus. You show blacks doing all kind of filth on a constant basis. And if people say, you know what, that's just who black people are. Now, on the flip side, which y'all talking about, were Ukraine, um, that the truth of that situation in Ukraine and in Europe disrupts the narrative because that's not, just like Columbine, that's not supposed to happen over there. Come on with it, Kanye.
1,000,000% everything you just said, but this is this is how crazy life is. These people are serial killers by nature. Like Wani said, they have a whole history of cannibalism, massacres, genocides, you name it, they've done it. The problem with this is, right, it's their nature, right? So if they can't do it to us, they're gonna do it to themselves. And they don't really need a reason to. They just do it. But to the Ukrainian situation really, really was Joe Biden's fault. Like I can't it was Joe Biden's fault. 1,000,000% his fault. Because during Obama era, the Russians took Crimea, right, from the Ukraine. And Obama refused to fund, he refused to do what Joe Biden is doing now, right? Give them money. Say, yeah, nah, fuck it, just let them have it. Right? Because they were gonna do it anyway. You cut off access to the sea. And so what they did was they took over Crimea, and once they had Crimea, the Ukrainians cut off a dam that gave them water. So they had to build a whole nother pipeline, like from Russia all the way to Crimea. Now, The Russians started doing some calculations. It'd be cheaper if we just took the damn country than to fuck around with this pipeline. So that's what they were gonna do. And Joe Biden could have easily told them, yo, turn the damn on, strike some deal with them where they pay you or some shit like that. But that's not what they did. They chose war because they knew America would fund the war and they would have a bunch of people in the middle who paid money to this super PAC to get all the money. So think about all the money they sent to Ukraine. That they basically middleman did. So a lot of people got that money. So that was 100% his fault. And also, although they do separate themselves from us, they do separate themselves from each other too. Most Eastern Europe countries, outside of maybe the Russians, are seen as second class people, right? So you look how the British treat the Irish and the Scottish, right? Less so people from Wales, but they have a class system over there too. Um, the Spaniards are kind of in the middle. The French are like up there with the British, but they don't necessarily like each other, right? But they all look down on people from like Ukraine, the Baltic states, pretty much. They all kind of look down on those people. Polish, they look down on them. Even during World War II, as a matter of fact, when Germany took Poland, they split it with Russia. And Hitler said he hated the Poles, and that was a sentiment the British shared too. He was actually trying to impress the British. Yeah, most people don't actually know that he actually wanted to start some alliance with them, but they wouldn't do it because he took over France. So yeah, that their whole European history is very, very interesting. It's full of bloodshed. Even I can't think of his name. One of those presidents was like, Europe's a place that's always at war. We should stay out of their business, and I agree wholeheartedly. But yeah, that's why. But yeah, they censor our media though because they got to keep the negative stereotype flowing.
And that's true of what Kanye just said. And the evidence of what he just said is the word slave, which has been superimposed upon the foundational Black American, right? Slave. But let's look at the origin of slave. Do y'all know that slave came from Slavic,
Hmm.
which is the people from that area are considered Slavic, and
Yeah,
they were they were casted so low that that's where the origin of the word slave came from. So good point, Kanye.
they kept moving around. They're really not that much different than their neighbors, but when you keep moving around, you put yourself in a position where you don't have land, you don't have some of the things, you don't have the protections, like exactly what the gypsies did. They didn't want to be called, a lower caste people. So they left India and went through all those countries, and now that's what happened. They got put in slavery right along with the Slavs. Hey Robbie, what's up?
Robbie Blue.
Good evening. Good evening. You guys are having a deep, powerful conversation. And the comment that I was going to make pretty much piggybacks on what you're saying about media. And in my mind, I just think about it like the lottery. Why do people participate with the lottery? Because they associate that with, the proximity of success, depending on if the people who win look like them. Well, that's why they always try to demonize us and have a negative, socioeconomic image. Even though you can have a robust black middle class, they won't highlight that, right? They want white people and white adjacent people to associate success with whatever storyline or image, right, that they show in the media. And that's why people believe in it like a religion. That's why Tariq said in Hidden Colors, he said white supremacy is like a religion. And so when reality, I guess when their expectations, right, meet reality, that's when sometimes there's hiccups in capitalism. They just lose it. It's not until there's a hurricane that I realize, wait a minute, there's poor white folks in North Carolina and Florida. They do a real good job. Like America has well dressed poor people because they don't understand probability. They get really emotional when it comes to the propaganda, so they feel like they have a closer proximity to success, but they don't understand it's more like Vegas. It's more like the lottery, that like they're not going to become as rich as the Rothschilds. They're not going to be a part of that elite class, but as long as they can look at images, not even us, because they don't even live in communities where we're around. They learn whatever they learn about, foundational Black Americans based on what they see in the media or based on who is flat black speaking on our behalf. So that shapes their and molds their perception. But at the end of the day, when we look at statistics, there's really not. I mean, there's the wealth gap with us, but there's an even bigger wealth gap with the average white serf, right? I call them Mayflower suckers. They think, what I'm saying? Somehow they think they got better odds than us. And we're like, nah, bruh, I mean, you've been at this for like 200 years and that elite class has stayed the same. So I'll just land my plane.
No, very very true. But that's the manufacturing of consent with that group to tell them who's poor, and also it manufactures a false ideology of the outcomes for their demographic. Professor Chris Hedges was talking about that. He said he quoted James Baldwin in saying, um, black men don't have a midlife crisis, which is so true. We really don't. But he said we don't have a midlife crisis because we were never under the illusion that we were going to be inherit the American dream, right? um, and suicide was up amongst Caucasian males. It still is up because a lot of, according to Professor Hedges, I'm paraphrasing him, a lot of that demographic get to a certain age and just realize, wait a minute, you mean I'm not going to be a millionaire? I'm not going to live happily ever after, and they just take themselves out as opposed to um, being
That's
forced.
expectations. Both of those are expectations.
Right. Yep. But we black men don't have that expectation. You know what I'm saying? We just realize that we're forced to realize reality. Dr. John Henry Clark talked about that with respect to foundational Black Americans in differentiation to Jamaicans and Caribbeans, because in America, during the slave trade, we were never allowed the illusion of power. We were never allowed that. Whereas in the Caribbean, they were allowed the illusion. What I mean by that, in the Caribbean, uh, they were allowed to have black school principals, black bus drivers, um, black attorneys here and there, where we weren't allowed that. We were never allowed the illusion of thinking that we were part um, of the machine. And now that's turned into a benefit because we know where we stand. Go ahead, Black, the Black.
I was gonna add, you know, the little Ukraine thing. That's where the East-West schism started in Christianity, and that's one of the
That's a
issues that they
fact.
have. Cause one celebrate the Eastern traditional religion of Christianity, where they worship the Black Madonna, and where Ukraine, you know, they support the rainbow Jesus, the do unto others, the fake Jesus that they push in the West. And what's so crazy? That's what started the the Morris so-called schism in the 1492 Christopher Columbus storyline. So I feel like what you keep on bringing up in the spaces when it come down to the Masons, like this was already a whole plan in in the works. It was just when the bomb was gonna blow.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I like you brought that up. I want to add that Justinian, he brought up some I taught last week. Justinian took over the Hagia Sophia in Constantinople. That's a church that literally means holy wisdom, the Church of the Holy Wisdom, and he superimposed his views. So what you were saying was 100% accurate and very very well said. Robbie Blue, holler at us.
Oh yeah, man. I think it was something I heard Wani and you guys speaking about earlier about, the brutality and the brutal nature in people slaughtering each other at one particular time, and then how they're shocked, right? Because of how quote unquote civilized society is, because again, they believe that their proximity to power insulates them. And part of that illusion is because they are like the common man that is the, I guess you can say, like the iron fist behind the velvet glove. They're the they're the mechanism of reward and punishment for us. So that gives them a sense of power. In other words, the person who gives out the order, the person who gives the edict, they don't have to get their hands dirty, but they allow them to be bureaucrats and allow them, to act out their racism. Like think of it like a religion. Somebody could say they're a non-practicing Catholic. That just means they believe in it. They just haven't have an opportunity to act on their beliefs. But I'll dig a little bit deeper and say what it really boils down to is controlling resources. And I even think of that in geopolitics we were talking about the other day. You know, There's a large deposit of uranium in Ukraine. They make sure
Facts.
in other countries where they're plentiful in resources, they want to keep people illiterate. They even want to keep their own people illiterate. Think about it. There's a lot of non-college educated uh, Americans. What does that tell you? That all these people aren't Mensa members, all these people aren't geniuses or subscribing to be better than mediocre. What that basically means is people want the good old days where they could work in a factory, right? Where they could, in other words, it's okay for you to be mediocre, but we got to be outstanding. Think about Deion Sanders. Everybody was saying, "Oh, Deion Sanders, their team sucks." Now they're performing at such a high level because cream rises to the top, and all we've asked for is opportunities. But just think about some of our white counterparts and the opportunities that they've had and that they've squandered. All I got to do is go to some of the mental health spaces, and they remind me that being white is not what it's all cracked up to be. We're all human beings at the end of the day. But I think the programming, right, that tells them that they're exceptional causes them to have that, like you say, midlife crisis, because there's a certain amount of expectations that they expect. They're like, hell, Jesus Christ himself looks like me. Every president looks like me. Somebody who looks like my grandfather is on every dollar bill. This is my world. So why haven't I succeeded? Because they want to believe. And they used to tell them, as long as you're doing better than a Negro, you're okay. That was like, in other words, whenever they were like Toto trying to pull back the curtain and look at the elites, they were like, silence. Don't pay attention to the man in the curtain. You know what I'm saying? Keep looking over here. And it's not working anymore. And that's why I told them, I said, y'all going to run out of Negroes to blame. Because at the end of the day, now you got to face the music. It's musical chairs. When the music stops, are you going to have a chair? They trusted a wolf at the hen house. That's basically what happened. They trusted a wolf at the hen house, and they're doing it again. You know what I'm saying? I don't want the country to fail per se, but I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to create the instruments that cause their own demise just because they don't want to share resources. So not only do they not want to, share resources, they keep investing all of their time into demonic technology to maintain power by brute force and psychological warfare because they're paranoid. It's kind of like being a bank robber. If I was a bank robber, shoot, I can't even go to Dave and Buster's without looking over my shoulder. Be like, man, I know the FBI is gonna come any moment. You know what I'm saying? I know that I have booty. I have stolen goods. So they got to project onto other people that we want something we didn't earn. We're lazy. We need a handout. No, we do need a hand up because we need to get your hand off of our neck. That's all. That's really all it is. But the sweet part about it is because when you look at Roman history and Greek history, every time they trust their future and their security in the hands of a few elite powerful men, it never works out well. And then they end up having infighting and they end up splitting amongst each other. And that's literally what's almost about to happen in the United States. They have a split right down the middle. They had Rome split, right? You mentioned Constantinople. That was the Western Roman Empire, right? So then they
Byzantine,
start
yes.
having different belief systems. Yep. They start having different belief systems. Everybody wanted to be Caesar. Then they started becoming czars. Then they start becoming kings. So yeah, let them keep at it.
Yeah, also in the end of the Roman Empire, that's a great analogy for what's going on now. You had bread and circus. And basically the people were fucking starving and couldn't afford food. So uh Caesar would send out it wasn't Julius Caesar, I think it was what's the name? Caligula would send out, and Nero would send out fucking circuses, like wagons full of the bearded lady and the midgets and stuff to entertain people, to make them distracted from the fact that they didn't have food to eat. Well, I do that analogy with like reality TV. Like America is like messed up. Like inflation's out of control. Um, like I don't know how anybody affords anything. I've talked about that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Is that comparative to Hitler trying to make sure every German had a Volkswagen, even though eventually their inflation went up? Is it kind of the same thing?
yeah, it's the end of empire. It looks like a, and I don't. Do I want America to? No, I love this country. This is my home. I travel the world. I don't want to be anywhere else but here. But I'm just looking at the trend. Hyperinflation is what sent sent Weimar Germany up in smoke. And I feel like that's kind of like what we're staring down right now, especially with the creation of BRICS. Now I forgot, I don't know if it was Robbie or Kanye who brought up Joe Biden causing the Ukraine conflict. I'm gonna tell you something. Joe Biden, since we're talking about hyperinflation, Joe Biden had a brilliant idea. I'm being sarcastic, of sanctioning Russia and canceling their money. So Russia had billions of dollars of U.S. dollars from questionable enterprises. Let's put it that way. But they had them, and to sanction Russia, to show them, Joe Biden literally canceled their currency, made it worthless. The whole world was watching that. China watched it, Brazil watched it, India watched it, South Africa and Saudi Arabia watched it, and they got together and said, "Oh shit, if he can make Russia's money worthless, what's stopping him from getting mad at us, or the United States from getting mad at us and making our US dollars worthless?" So that one act, one mindless act by Joe Biden, um, caused or motivated the creation of BRICS currency, which is backed by gold. BRICS currency is going to be an issue, Americans. That's going to be an issue. But I digress. Go ahead, the black.
It's funny that you bring up the circus and bread, because during like a little bit after the Civil War, P.T. Barnum was going around America with the circus, and he's the reason why we have museums and stuff like that, because that's where most white people, uneducated white people, got their education and learned about different parts of the world, and they actually got slaves from different parts of the world and made them into like little theatrical shows and stuff like the Tom Thumb, Otabanga, and stuff like that. And that's where you get the word Sarcasians, cause and that's really the same people, the Ukrainians, that they didn't like, and that's where we get the word Afro from them.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. So social elites read history. We're like you know what I'm saying? Real history is not taught. I should know. I'm licensed and credentialed to teach it in several states. And I didn't know real history. I had to get on fucking Twitter to, oh really? Like they lied to me. That's a source of discontent for me. I've been lied to in my extensive education. But I digress. Real history educates you on power. And the reason why I bring that up is you brought up P.T. Barnum, who was an elite. He knew real history. The social elite get around and talk about real things, and he knew that to pacify a group of humans, give them bread and circus, and he made an empire out of that, right? But that was directly taken from the Roman ideology that bread and circus worked for a little while. It worked for a little while.
You, you know, one of his
That's what
favorite phrases was
What?
a sucker's born every minute.
Yeah,
that's what the Democrats do to us. Bread and circuses.
exactly. Twerking and all that. Yeah, bread and circus.
Have you seen Kamala's website lately, Professor?
What
I haven't.
happened?
She has a Thanksgiving recipe for Punjabi collard greens. They so good you can put
You
your foot
lying.
and your ass in it. You just get in the tub, all third world in there, and
I
just let
don't
it
know if I
soak.
believe this, but
There's
he's
pubic pubes on the side. The pubes are on the side as a free little
I feel
gift.
skeptical about that.
Yeah, I like the analogy of the Democratic Party using bread and circus because I definitely felt the bread and circus vibe when Cardi B got up there and started talking. I was like, oh Lord.
That was talking?
Got up there and started mumbling.
It sounded like some screeching monkey sounds. I don't know what that girl was doing. Was she trying to read? My God.
I just want to know, did they bring her out for us or for the Puerto Rican group?
I don't know.
Cause
I
she more
mean,
she don't act like Puerto Rican. She act like black people. So like, was there just a little
Carol
slug of
West.
showing the black and brown coalition?
It's offensive. It's offensive that they would think that's the way to reach us. Like, you know, sometimes academics are out of touch with reality. Um, I'm not gonna call no names, but I tell you, let's say 3 years ago, I was at a historically black college, um, an unnamed historically black college that had a convocation. Basically, they had like a student organization where they were trying to recruit more students to join organizations at the school. And I swear to God, the uh, 50, maybe 55-year-old administrator, let me put it that way, two grown ass administrators, 55-year-old, 160-year-old administrator, got up there and started twerking at a college. This is
What?
yes, I have it on film, and I
Why?
because they thought
What's
it's
the context?
the content. They were trying to get the kids to sign up and trying to do a college recruitment, and they thought it would be a good idea. My point of bringing that up is academics are out of touch with reality. Like academics think, well, the kids like this. They'll watch a sexy red video and say, well, they do that on the video, so the kids like that. But it's not true. If you really studied children at a, I mean, or young people at a historically black college, it's particularly the one I'm talking about, you'll see that they're more into ideas. You know what I'm saying? They were, I did uh, what do you call it, a poll at this school when I was there to see what the kids wanted. Um, and I found out that most of the kids, believe it or not, wanted Dr. Umar to come. But the president struck that down. I think another hidden hand didn't want him coming. But I'm saying that to say that the major 80% of the student population wanted to be stimulated on an intellectual. They want to hear about injustice. Gen Z wants to know facts. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to see twerking. But the academic educational class, I don't know how the hell they, you know what I'm saying? And the Democrats have been associated with the elite professorial. Um,
Why do they keep doing that though, Professor? Because we just went through the Kamala issue and now they're talking about, oh, OAC is the next one. That's the same thing, dum dum. She's an imbecile. She's foreign. She says stupid things. She's the same thing as Kamala. She lies about her race. I have a video of her saying, well, everybody's black. And then I have another video of her saying, I'm not black. I mean, she's not likable. And why do they keep putting these people in that are can jump in and out of races? They really are sold on this having ties to all the communities. You know, Obama was a jackpot. He's black. He's got a Asian sister and stepfather. He's African. He's white. He's all of these things, and therefore everyone's going to vote for him. That's just the road they're going to take, and you can't stop them. They're just on stuck on stupid.
that well, they like it because theoretically, see that's the stupidity of academics. Because on a graph in a Venn diagram, it looks like that's the best thing to do because it gives everybody what they want. It's a perfect solution. But reality doesn't work out like a Venn diagram. Reality is reality, and you have to really go to the people and see exactly what they want. But yeah, just real talk. You got a bunch of academics that think they smart, and they think we stupid. They think everybody's stupid, and you got a lot of ego tripping. A lot of people thinking that they're smarter than people when they're not. And that's how you get people spending millions of dollars on Cardi B so she could come up there and embarrass herself. Just stupidity. Come on, Robert.
To me, it seems like they did it intentionally to make black people look incompetent because they didn't want to win that election. Because there's no way they could have been believing that data that they claim. They have too many intelligent people. And when you were talking, you just made me think about something. You know, Barack Obama has a picture of himself as a little boy on the golf course with George Bush, right? Him, George Bush, the Bush that he came after, they're both little boys on the golf course. Obama's adopted father is there on the golf course with George Bush. So that means George Bush knew Obama. They knew each other as children. So I don't think that's like too much of a coincidence, to be honest with you. And you mean to tell me all these people, the landslide victory that came for Trump, that there's people in the DNC that didn't know it? Because we kept saying Biden and Kamala, their popularity wasn't up there. So I guess they figure she got $20 million to take a dive, just like Mike Tyson got $20 million to get buck broken, and just like Denzel got $20 million to kiss and then have it cut out of a film. I think, like you say about the imaging, they wanted they to save the union once again. They want to sully the image of our people and remind us that, hey, you have political power, but you don't have economic power, because we can dangle a few dollars, right? And we can shift the narrative because they need it to prop up the ego of mediocre white men.
Well,
You got me. Go ahead.
this is true, but it's more insidious than that. You're right. It's being used to diminish the image and credibility of foundational Black Americans. But the real question is why? Well, the why comes from the intention. The intention is to put more groups, um, to create a buffer class. You have the history. History is the best predictor of the future. And if you look back at American history, other groups have always come into America, shit, since the 1600s, really. But to create a buffer class between foundational Black Americans and the elite, right? Well, to to do that, you need to manufacture discontent for foundational Black Americans. So you turn on TV and you have a presidential election, which is a dignified event. People should have on ties, bow ties, and be sipping wine, and you know what I'm saying. But no, you got somebody up there twerking, talking about vote for such and such. What does that do for people coming to this country? They say, "Oh man, that group likes that at a presidential election. Well, shit, I don't respect them." That's the intent. It's creating a caste system, thereby scapegoating foundational Black Americans. And yeah, and that's why censorship is so important to these systematic apparatus of power, because when we get on venues like X, YouTube, or whatever, and we're speaking the truth like we are now, that exposes these, what Chris Hedges would call, levers of power. You know,
No, let me ask a quick question. If 90 some percent of Black Americans voted Democrat, why? So, see, I don't believe in a lot of statistics. Sorry, but I don't. And I can't go, I'm not going to say, oh, because all the people I know didn't do this or that. I'm just going to ask a question. If we voted so hard for Democrats, then why, number one, were we targeted so hard to vote Democrat? I mean, like mega pressure that other people are not experiencing. Why not go drum up some other voters? Why not stimulate some Asian or Arab voters that may not have participated before? Why is the focus so hard on people that are, since we're already voting for them, why would they waste their time targeting us and setting these people upon us? The other question I have is, if we voted so hard for Democrats, then why are they still stalking us? Like they sound like jealous boyfriends. It's like, well, look at your new man ain't did shit for you. See, you should have stayed over here with us. I didn't even vote. And I'm getting treated like it's like if you break up with someone and then they accuse you of having a new boyfriend. I'm not dating anyone. I just don't like you. Can you understand that, Democrats? I dumped you and I don't have a new boyfriend. Okay? I just don't like you. I didn't trade you in for a new man. I don't like you and I never will.
Sorry, let me unmute. To answer your question about voting Democrat, Democrats can't win if they only have 80% of the black vote. So they need like between 92 to 90, in the high 90s. So therefore, if we, most people in this election, they sat it out or they voted for Trump. So, and then they said 22% of the black vote went to Trump, or male and female, adding up to 22%. So all the time,
27.
excuse
It's
me.
higher. It's interesting that it was quite high in Texas.
Right, but they can't. Democrats are dirty. See, the Democrats used to be the Dixiecrats, aka the Republic. They flipped to the Republicans. Now, if you look at this map now, it's gonna be a flip. I don't know if it's gonna be in 2026 or 2028, but it's gonna be a flip. And Democrats are pretty much done because they laid the play was import all these people over here. Okay, they'll be grateful. We gave them, shelter, housing, whatever. They're going to vote for us. Most of these people that come from these countries, especially Latin America, they're Catholic and they don't believe in the degeneracy and the debauchery and, just the abomination of what the Democrats are pushing. So they played their hand and they basically lost. They just took off the veil and showed who they really were. And like I said, Democrats are the party of the Klan. So I just want to.
And that's very true. I did want to identify, and me and Juan have talked about this before. If you looked at the map, um, a really interesting point was identified that the places, damn near 90% of the places that where Kamala Harris dominated, had a no voter. Did y'all catch that? It was like a no
I'm in
ID.
Southern
Yeah.
California all day, all day. That's the
Right.
play. That's
I-
the play. Get the immigrants over here. A push for citizenship. Okay,
so
Ronald.
Elon Musk, I have certain, I don't agree with him all the time, but I will agree with what he said about that. Elon said if the Democratic Party would have won, democracy would have been over in the United States because
Yeah,
the intent of the Democratic Party, according to Musk, was to import an astronomical amount of immigrants into
exactly.
critical swing states, and to make them,
I believe.
yeah, once they become Democratic,
I
you will
believe
never have another Republican
But
election.
here's the problem. They think that those people are
because the Democrats are
humanitarians.
pretty much.
They're not humanitarians.
Go ahead.
You see, they're not voting for their family members to come over. They get immediately they get selfish. Yeah, don't let anyone else in. They're not humanitarians like us. We people like me, I always voted for Democrats because I viewed them as a party for the little guy
Right.
to help
Right.
people with social programs, whether I needed the program or not. It was for the
Exactly.
good of the country. But now no, 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 no. What they're doing with the trans activities and the
Yeah. The Bible.
targeting children and all those trans in the classroom programs, they went out with a bang. They went out funding a program to put a trans in an elementary school to talk to them about trans. They've been doing it the whole time, but they went out, these black Democrats which I would spit on in public, went out with a bang, funding everything trans stuff, LGBTQ, talking about it. They never said one thing about regular Americans, let alone Black Americans. They want nothing to do with regular people. They only want to help people that are deviants, criminal deviants.
Yeah, this is a fact. Go ahead. Go ahead, Kanye.
Yeah, I was gonna answer one question. The reason why they were so campaigning for a vote, it's kind of mixed what Mike said too. They've been trending downward on the black vote for a long time. Like Obama got down there 98%, and Joe Biden I think got like 94 or something like that, and it's been going down since. Harris and Biden were down there pretty much the same election cycle, and she dropped like 10 percentage points. I mean, I think it was like 88%, 88 or 89% of black men voted for her last time, and that dropped to 80%. That is scary for them, right? Because remember, they base everything on identity politics and coalitions and things of that nature. So in their minds, A black person is no different from a Latina person, right? And it's all the same because they build big tent politics, what they call it. Get everybody under this one big umbrella to vote in your interests. This is why they hate us, that people of color shit. But the problem is when people start delineating like we did, and every time we do something, everybody else does it. That's when you start to see the Latinx people come out and say, "Hey, I'm Puerto Rican. I'm not Mexican." And you see the Dominicans, "Oh, I'm Dominican. I'm not Puerto Rican. I'm this." And all of a sudden, you can't group everybody in together. And now they're saying that they don't want to be notified as Latinx. They want to be notified as Puerto Rican and Dominican and Mexican and El Salvador, whatever the hell these people are from these days. So, and they know whatever we do, everybody else tends to copy. So it's like, damn, if we lose the influence and the culture, notice they were only going after major black celebrities. They didn't try to get Taylor Swift. They went straight for Beyonce. Taylor Swift endorsed them, but she didn't come to none of the rallies to speak. They went Taylor Swift, Lizzo, Usher, Glorilla, Meg Thee Stallion. They didn't go get none of those country singers because they know that it doesn't matter. So, but yeah, I just wanted to answer that question for one.
Thank you.
And also the reason, going back to the question, that's the reason why they censoring black media because imagine if somebody got on stage and black media got famous and said those words. The culture, they're losing the culture. Now it'll become culturally cool to not support the Democrats, and that's their worst nightmare.
That map was so red. Oh my God. And it's going to get redder. If they keep talking about who's going in what bathroom and men jumping in women's swimming pools, no, 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 no. People don't want that. I'm so glad people don't want that.
Smartest thing for the Dems to do would be turn California red. They had to spend $100 million turning California red. I'd be on that. Cause we saw that map and woof. And I don't know why that surprised anybody. California's full of people that, you know, want to make a living off line all day. So I mean, they might say one thing, but in that booth, they do a whole nother thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
no, who's next?
I think it was the black.
If you notice, this whole election season, especially during Hillary, they've been talking about trying to reestablish the Obama coalition, and the black media broke the Obama coalition. Just to be real, like we broke it, threw it away, and it's no assembling it back together like Voltron. Like it's over with. Cause this delineation, like it's beautiful. I've been loving it. I'm glad Joy Reid ain't gonna have a job next year. Like it's gonna be a beautiful 4 years, and as long as we continue to push and show them that this is what it is, cause this the reason why they labeled us as black identity extremists, cause the because it's not an ideology that we're pushing. It's not a religion. It's not a code. It's actually your family. You gotta stand on your family line. What has your family done? And if you ain't been here, you just ain't been here. It's okay. Like we try to make everybody be proud of where you come from and actually be. That's the whole. I thought that was the whole point of identity politics. Like you're proud of who you are and where you come from, but it seems like when you got to come out that closet, don't nobody want to stay out of there because them bones start falling out, and then they got to turn around and blame the Negro, and we we cool with it because we used to it. We just know y'all can't get rid of us because without us, ain't nothing gonna be entertaining. Ain't nothing gonna be worth doing. Everybody was sad during COVID because niggas didn't want to play basketball. We didn't want to function with each other. We went in our own little silos, and everybody focused on black people. See what Timberland and them did. We actually made new avenues to do things. Everybody started doing verses. Like they became a whole venture into its own. So like regardless of the fact, we gonna always reinvent the wheel, and they don't know how to do that without us.
Facts, facts. Santa Morte, talk to us.
I think that there's a interesting book. It's called Manufacturing Consent, And this book is written by Norm Chomsky. I've posted it.
Yeah, I was talking about it earlier.
No, you said Chris Hedges, but that's direction. But you said Hedges. Nay, I think that we're in a certain type of situation where, for whatever reason, whether it was the reason of poverty or other things, yeah, that deviancy is something that, for whatever reason, the African American community seems to um, somehow have a softness about tolerating tolerating that type of things. And then you wonder later on, when certain people use these things against you, because that's what manufacturing consent is. They're going to manufacture it as long as they know that you're going to take it. It's like with rap music. Rap music, it used to be very conscious. Yeah, they talked about the black community and what was going on, as far as more of a positive line, and then later on it changed to um 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 I hate to say it like this, whores and bitches, and we're gonna kill each other, and we're niggas, and we sell drugs, and that's the only thing that was coming out of the manufacturing factory. And I know some people did laughing; they think that's funny. It's not funny for to have a global imaging campaign from the United States through the Democratic Party, that's what they are, and that's what we are. It's not nice. It really isn't. And so I think that we have to also, um, like me, I didn't vote, yeah, Democrat, yeah, and frankly, I think in the state of California, I have the map of the areas, and you would be surprised just how much was red. It was red. Someone said, "Yeah, but California, they weren't really red." No, no, no. There were a lot of votes there, but it was really red. And so the society itself is sick and tired of all of this, like the woman said earlier. She said this degenerate type of, that's how we are, and calling God at one thing, got prosperity preachers all over the place. And then you're gonna see the next phase, that's gonna be how
Yeah,
they
you there?
use the
You're breaking up,
uh,
Santa Morte.
oh, okay, I'm sorry. The next thing that's going to happen is how the Christian right is going to also get involved in this form of manufacturing consent. Yeah, and I posted that yesterday on X, and so that's like the next phase that people are going to go through, because these people, they have no intent to have any respect for a people that for whatever reason the imaging says that they are not to be respected, because they're just generous. Yeah, stripping on
Well,
all the time, and all types of stupid stuff that people want to think about black people.
good point. Good point. The black. What's on your mind?
See, this is why I was laughing because I don't understand when outsiders come and try to say we accept or we have a low propensity or tolerance for degeneracy when we tell people that nah, we don't like that. That's not us. That's everybody else that's projecting an image of us. And if you want to be real, like when it comes down to music, like you got a group of writers that approve, and you got to go through different levels. So like it's not us that's actually pushing out this trash, and it's just very disingenuous for people to just come around and say, yeah, this is what we see and this is what we think. Like, no, and because this is that ain't what we push. Personally, I don't know people that do all that degenerate, just shoot up places and like that. That ain't my culture that I know of, to be honest. And I stay in the hood. Know what I'm saying? Uh, Historical Black Freeman community. Like all we know is excellence and being the best. So like what you see on TV, don't project that on me. That's how I look at it. Cause at the end of the day, if you ain't in the trenches with us, then you can't actually say. Cause how can we have the greatest people that's being copied all around the world, but you say we degenerate people? Like that it don't make sense. It don't add up.
No cap. What you see on TV, don't apply that to me. I love it. Mike,
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I wasn't meaning that.
hold on, Santa Morte. Go ahead, Mike.
yeah. What I was trying to say is that these people are done. This is why you see all this confusion because the birth rate is basically non-existent. I believe if you get below 1.87, you pretty much go the way of the dodo bird, and they're pumping all these immigrants in here is not going to save it. That's basically what I want to say. In California, in the cities, metropolitan areas, it's diverse, but the rural areas are real, redneck. You would think you were in like Tennessee, Georgia, they're real conservative. So I'm not surprised about all the red on the map in California. That's all I want to say.
Right on. Um, what were you gonna say, Santa Morte?
um I wasn't trying to apply that we as a majority of the people. What I'm saying is that when they're in the process of manufacturing this consent, is these are the tactics that they use, and I think that a lot of times too that we should stand up more, like when this whole rap music thing started really getting, I mean, just really over time, yeah, we then the people that we know that, yeah, we should have fought more and stood up more and protested more, that stopped doing this image slander that was taking place or still takes place in the United States. Yeah, I mean, Beyonce, even if you look at her, the direction she's going, yeah, I mean, eventually, what's going to happen? She's going to have to get naked to come up on stage, yeah. And I want to mention another thing is that what was that again? Before I forget, these people that were in the Democratic Party, there were these artists and these celebrities. They all got paid. They got paid. Beyonce made like 2 million. And Lady Gaga, she got paid. They all got paid. And so these this is what happened in Germany. How propaganda was able to slide its ugly head out is because they used the people that were in the entertainment industry. That was very noticeable in the book that George Goebel that he wrote. He wrote about that in the book, that how important it is to Hollywood, yeah, or in Germany, Brandenburg, yeah.
That that's
And
that's
there's a
that's
guy,
that's actually very true. The uh, Nazis used propaganda to portray the Jews in a certain light and manufacture discontent upon their character. So when the shit hit the fan, the people of the German people did not feel sorry for him, and to some degree, I've been concerned about that happening to us because a whole bunch of discontent has been manufactured towards our person.
They've been doing it
and
for
then
years.
there's a
Go ahead, Wani.
by
No, I was just gonna say
there's a book by Neil.
they've been doing that for you. They've been doing propaganda for us for years. It started with "We're all savages." Anybody here was a savage, Native American or otherwise. And then it just progressed to minstrel shows, and look how stupid they are. And of course, they imported in a bunch of Caribbeans to make us look bad. They even had white foreigners in blackface to make us look bad. So they've been doing that. Go ahead, Santa.
There's a writer. His name is Neil Gabler, and in this book that I have here, it's another book. I do a lot of books for some reason. I can't deal with TV and all of that stuff because it's not good for my soul. Anyway, so he says how the Jews invented Hollywood, and he's Jewish, yeah. How the Jews invented Hollywood, an empire of their own is the name of the book. And then, and okay, I can't read everything on the back of it.
Could you tell us
Anyway,
how they invented it? Because they weren't even. Okay, go ahead. I've
okay,
heard of that book before. Or like, what is their claim to inventing it? Because they weren't here when the first inklings of entertainment happened, and we actually have invented things to make movie projectors. Um, the same guy, Lewis Latimer, that was working with Thomas Edison. We have early directors and filmmakers. So how did they create Hollywood?
okay, this was basically after like the First World
Yeah, it
War,
was already instant.
yeah,
Okay.
around that time. But when he writes in the book about how they invented it, he goes into the same thing that has to do with Sigmund Freud, yeah, Edward Bernays, yeah, and Goebbels, and the Jews had combinate they combined these people together in order to control the imaging that was in Hollywood, because before the Jewish people, they had their own problems and they wondered, well, how could they get out of being an oppressed folk when they thought that they were like white like everybody else, which they were. But somehow even now they accept that they're not like all the other white people, but they're some of the racist people that are really involved in the imaging that's coming over about African
And they were
Americans
portrayed
or
as
African.
rats. I saw all the propaganda against them. They were portrayed as rats. And then they come over here and try to portray us or have something to do. We don't even have anything to do with them. Other, they just made an enemy out of us for no reason. You know what I'm saying? We
Yeah,
drug them out of those
yeah.
concentration camps, and they have to have all kinds of remembrances for those men that did that, that drug them out of concentration camps, so they can come over here and latch on to our civil rights, our advocacy, put themselves in it, get benefits from it. They didn't want them in these country clubs. They came over here thinking they were going to hobnob in the country. No, no, no. They didn't want nothing to do with them. Very late in the game. I mean, these things have not been going on that long. They were discriminated against, and for them to come over and discriminate against others because they think it's easy pickings, and they leech off of other people because they don't have anything going. Like we discussed the Slavs, we discussed the Gypsies, and they're another group that played musical chairs with land and lost. Musical chairs does not work out very well because when you get caught and you start migrating around and leaving places and getting beat up and moving, you end up with nothing. And the only thing that makes them more successful than Slavs and Gypsies is that their ability to latch on and parasite off of other groups, which is what they're known for. They've been doing that to
Exactly.
Europe.
Facts.
But now, but you know where they're going right now. Now the Congress and the Senate is already controlled by Apex, so there won't be anything taken care of as far as these people. We cannot even discuss them without being called
Well,
anti-Semitic,
that
even
doesn't
though
work
that they're not
anymore.
Semite.
I don't care what they're talking about. Everybody, a lot of people are Semitic. They don't own Semitic, and they can be questioned, and they're genociders, so they don't have any more Jewish cards to pull. They're a genocidal group over there butchering children and bragging about it and raping men up the butt. So no, they can sit down somewhere.
Facts. Let's see, Midwest, what's on your mind?
Yeah, what's up? Yo, going back to you and Robbie Blue, it's a quote you all reminded me of. And I don't know if it's kind of confusing who made it, but regardless, I'll just say it. Maybe it's John Steinbeck or someone else. But it says, socialism never took root in America because the poor see themselves not as an exploited proletariat, but as temporary. So I think the poor are really like the typical white people.
Right.
Everyone heard me? Okay.
Yeah, I heard you, brother. Go ahead, the black.
You know what's so crazy? When Warner said that uh they really was in Israel protesting to rape people. Like these people are sick. So yeah, and the Oscar, we all know that the Oscar is stolen image of Oscar Micheaux, the greatest filmmaker in the world.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not advertised, right? It's a hidden fact. Mike C, you want to add something?
Yeah, to everybody in the room, Google the Council of Nicaea, and they're not the ish people. They're not the people. What was it? The 1948 Belfort Agreement, which shipped them over there, and the Palestinian people are not the Palestinian people. They're totally different people. It's the reason why they push this uh, image of themselves because in Israel right now, none of them are allowed to take DNA tests, and they're really Ashkenazi. And what you were talking about earlier, you talked about Constantinople. Okay, who took Constantinople when it fell? You
Yeah,
know,
right.
Mehmet. So constant the Roman Empire never really it dissolved into the Catholic Church. And so now what it is today, they call it the obulus. It's London will handle the money, the Catholic Church in Rome, the religion. The United States of America is the military wing, the enforcer. So Constantinople, it just evolved. So they never these people are wicked. I mean, they just we are oracle people. Our people, we wrote stuff down, but not we handed stuff down. So, when 1492, which Columbus, he didn't even land in America first, but when he came here, they would kill the old people and burn what books we had. And the word is not Semitic, it's Shemitic. So I just wanted to say that.
Interesting. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody else want to contribute? Well, I enjoyed y'all. I learned a lot today. I'm under the impression that black media is being censored. Those of you who came in a little later, the moment I started this page and people start trickling in, my app crashed. I had to restart my whole iPhone to come back on. So I think there is, like Sister Santa Morte said, there is a uh, intentional program to promote ignorance on black spaces, to promote debauchery, and that is a direct attempt to manufacture discontent for foundation black Americans and portray us in a light of ignorance and foolishness with a function. That function is to create a caste system wherein we are cast as peasants. Um, Believe it or not, that complex, sophisticated system fails because we always rise to the top and go through the fire and come out unscathed. A good example of that the other day was Mike Tyson. Here we had a man in his 60s boxing with a 20-year-old, almost won the fight, right? It shows it shows black excellence. We're outrageously excellent, and we're so excellent that the system has to spend billions of trillions of dollars to try to manufacture discontent for debauchery that doesn't exist. As a matter of fact, they're manufacturing debauchery. In conclusion, I would say black media is being, and lastly, other ethnic groups are allowed to spew debauchery, and in certain instances, this debauchery is overlooked. Any closing words?
I wanted to say something about Hollywood.
Come on.
I just wanted to say that some of the first images, like I said, Lewis Latimer invented parts to make the film projector with Thomas Edison, who he was working with the light bulb. They used the same, lighting and stuff for that. And so they filmed Black Americans or some of the first subjects in 1898. They had a film called Something Good Negro Kiss, and they filmed us dancing as well in 1894. We were some of the first subjects. We were always a subject in minstrel shows as jokes. We're really the foundation of entertainment here because they were so um, evil and hell bent on making fun of us that they created like minstrel shows and and we fought back and had the Chitlin circuit later on, and so it's just been a back and forth of us wanting to have our own images preserved and them trying to do things against us. But these Something Good Negro Kiss and the Black American Men Dancing, those were not disparaging films. Those were people just saying, "Hey, look at them dancing and look at them in these tender romantic scenes when we've portrayed them as farm animals." They were trying to portray us properly, um, but of course, the people who are more in charge were insisting upon portraying us in a negative light. But they did not create Hollywood. Hollywood is we're very much a part of it, and we do have a golden age of Hollywood.
Right, right. And again, that's overlooking our genius and trying to fill it with debauchery. It's manufactured. All of it is fake. Robbie Blue, talk to us.
Yeah, I know you're getting ready to shut the space down, but Wani just made me think in my subconscious mind. I remember watching one of the Hidden Colors, and I believe Brother Tariq pointed out that the whole concept of the circus clown was based on them making fun of black people who were hobos hopping on trains. So they studied how people dressed, you know what I'm saying, with a hole in the knee or tattered clothes, because we actually did work. You know what I'm saying? They say pull up your bootstraps. We were working probably without boots. So it's just amazing how something that they turn for a negative, they end up turning it into some type of enterprise when they see that they can capitalize on, like, oh, so children like this. So then they start having, a black man around Shirley Temple, you know what I mean? Making stained glass around all the Catholic cathedrals, you know what I'm saying? Crack. Just the idea, you know what I'm saying, of us being compassion made in fun of. And then I think about it every time we go through a drive through, just remember the drive through used to be a product of segregation when they didn't want black folks to be serviced at the front door. You had to go to the back. And my dad said he remembered plain as day growing up how his father had to go to the back of restaurants. That's even to do a delivery. They would not let you come in. So they had a side window or a back door. They would give you your food.
My grandmother
Wow.
would not let white people come through the front door if they wanted her to, they would try to get her to cook lemon meringue pies for them, and she was like, "No, you are not coming through my front door, embarrassing me."
Right. All hidden.
I wanted to. Can I say one last
Y-
thing before you
Yeah, go
go?
ahead, Santa.
Okay, I posted some books that I'm reading now, like Powered for the Powerless, and then the psychosis of the mind. And the next phase, because actually the Democrat Party and the Republican Party, they are both corrupted. They only represent the oligarchs or the extremely the wealthy people. And so they're already working on phase two. And phase two is through with Trump. And I posted something. I'm not trying to attack Christian people, but this is the direction that it's going to be going. And that is that the to really truly bring in the American fascism that's already taken place. Because if you read about fascism, the United States is basically borderlining, really on fascism. And what they're going to be trying to do now is the radical Christian right calls for exclusion, yeah, cruelty and intolerance in the name of God. That's like the next thing that's going to be coming up, where that they will be committing evil and making it to make it a so-called better world. But then they're going to be silencing the people through religion. That's the next phase, and then the United States will be a 100%, not just playing with this 45-60% realm, that the United States will basically stand up and say that they're fascists, just like they say that they're Zionist or not. Yeah, Zionist. So that's like the next phase, and so like. We should read these books and understand also what direction it's going to go, and then do things so that that will be prevented. Yeah. So they will implant by force their narrow particular version, their version, yeah, of what is goodness, but in using that to destroy people like African Americans, the indigenous people, and things like that. And I posted that a little bit together, but I'm not trying to attack Christians. I'm just letting you know that that's the direction it's gonna go, and that's what's gonna make it completely red, and then and also prove that the United States is basically a fascist nation. And so there's books where you can read on American fascism and how the GOP had forced that image of fascism. Oh gosh, I think my battery is. Oh
Good
gosh.
good point, Santa. We're gonna go to Showtime. I think that's at Showtime. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Showtime.
Showtime. Thank you. Appreciate it. Love and light, peace and blessings. Showtime from the Iron Mike reporting live from the city of dreams, Shanghai. Are black people in media being censored? Absolutely. Are other ethnicity groups being censored? Without question. I got hip to kind of like left wing politics slowly but surely throughout the course of my life. Growing up in Detroit, in the D Block area, Dexter Davison, a lot of black radical militants, the Black Panthers, the League of the Revolutionary Black Workers. And I only, uh, just through a long period of research and time, really pieced together an understanding of like left wing politics and a left wing mentality. The left wing media, black left wing media, is completely censored in the United States of America. It's pretty extreme how rare and how difficult it is to hear these voices. We have something called the Black Agenda Report. Glenn Ford, has passed away, pioneered that. But um, these voices just get totally iced out, even from our own community, even from the black community, black elites, and black elite universities. They have a way of silencing and diminishing left wing voices. So it is happening. The Chinese completely
What do you mean
are
left wing
being.
voices like Democrats?
Oh no! Oh hell no! Democrats are the establishment party. There's nothing left wing about them. They've hijacked and kind of taken the name, but the real left wingers, you don't even know them. That's the tragedy. We don't even know who
Right,
they
I
are.
don't. Right, I don't
Yeah,
even know which the group you're talking about. That's a shame.
yeah. So a lot of them are targeted by the state. You had a African Socialist Party. The head was like the brother's like 70 years old. FBI just ran up in his crib, arrested him, tried to set him up for allegedly taking money from Russia.
But he's a
Um,
Pan-Africanist, right?
this brother is a Pan Africanist. He is.
Okay,
But
he can go down in flames.
Yep. I understood the beef with Pat, but again, um,
But
the
who are
Pan
those
African,
Russian guys? But there was some Russian guys standing around, like where did they come from?
Russia.
Well, why
it
was he
shouldn't be a
dealing with
problem.
them?
It shouldn't be a problem with Americans like myself, a proud, independent American, engaging with other citizens and even governments and people of the world, just like the power structure does. We have to represent ourselves. So if you look at our leaders, um, from Malcolm X to Robert F. Williams to W. E. Du Bois, they didn't have a problem traveling throughout the world and engaging with leaders. Now
It's
we are
not a
so buck
problem,
broken.
but check it out. They really did. These Russians were trying to sow discord and cause chaos on the internet.
Yeah, I mean, so what? It's a free world. Let it happen. I mean, who really cares? If you look at the studies and the research and the data, and I have about like Russian and
Well,
Chinese interference.
I'm concerned
Well, can
about
I
these
just finish? Can I finish?
Can
Can
I
I just finish the
finish?
one
Can
point?
I finish? Um, I'm concerned about Pan-African groups being mixed up with the CIA repeatedly, getting caught doing things like this to sow discord, to make us feel like we're not a part of America, to tell us we're African. They keep being caught. And it's like, how many times do you get caught before people start to look at you sideways?
Well, the same argument that can be leveraged against the mainstream Democrats, being used by the
We already
CIA, and
did leverage. We don't like them either.
exactly. So, and the point of this intelligence community is actually to pit us against each other and keep us divided and keep us having animosity instead of
Okay, who's
actually
us? Who's us, though?
uh,
Keep
people
who
who are not part of
divided.
the intelligence community, the typical citizens. If you're not part of the elite, the oligarch class,
Okay,
and
hold on. Hold on. Keep who divided? The FBI divided from Black Americans?
well,
Who are they trying to divide?
all Americans, and quite frankly, the majority of to keep us
White and
weak and
black
divided,
people?
white, black, Asian, anyone, any group they want to pit against each
They
other
are
and keep us
divided.
weak.
That's why they have different names. You
That's
just
fine, but
named different groups.
we don't have to take the bait for some of these
That's not
antagonisms
fate.
and
We're
conflicts.
actually different people with different agendas.
That's fine. There's no problem with
Caribbeans
that.
may have an agenda to want to dump all of the islands on New York, and I have an agenda to kick them out. We're not the same group, so we should be divided, correct? We have different agendas. We're not
Well,
one group. We're not
well,
one group.
that's
We're not
there's
one
a
group.
okay. So the point that you're making, I don't have a problem with you having a political agenda and having conflicts with different people. All I'm saying is we shouldn't allow ourselves to be manipulated by a third party and
We're
let them
not
use.
manipulated. We're making a clear, logical choice. I don't want people in the country illegally. I don't want entire islands dumped on the United States of America, and whoever promises to end that is who I would vote for or root for. In this case, I'm rooting for since I didn't vote. What's the problem? How is that dividing? How is that being manipulated? We're
You're
using our brains, we're making clear-cut choices based on tangibles, based on things that we want to happen in the country. What's the problem?
there actually is no problem with that agenda of protecting protecting the country from illegal immigration. This is a legitimate concern. Most strong nations all have this kind of policy, so there actually is no problem. We're not in contention. I'm not here to fight or argue, and I actually don't disagree with a lot of your perspectives. So I appreciate you guys for bringing me up. This is one of my first times on your stages. It's been a long time, and I'll catch you guys next time. Love and light, showtime from the Iron Mike.
The person that the name that he was
Don't
looking
go nowhere,
for
my
is
boy.
Chairman
I'll holler
O'Malley.
at him.
The Chairman O'Malley, he is the founder of the Uhura organization
I
in
know all about
Florida.
him.
Yeah, and so that's the name that he was looking for earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
He's denying being a Pan-Africanist, so I'm really skeptical. Professor has to close the space. We have overrun.
Yeah. I'm gonna give last words to Captain. Go ahead.
I want to say, man, dude. real people who is, left wing. Those are the real people who provide it. So I'm with whoever the lady that was talking. I'm with what she said. So whoever can end this immigration, that's who I'm rooting for. And I did vote, of course. And I'm not gonna sit up here and lie to you. I did vote Trump, and I ain't scared to tell anybody that. So anybody's opinion, it ain't gonna matter to me. So
Good
um,
for you.
with that being said, when the old boy was talking about the left, I'm gonna tell you like this: black folks ain't really come from no left. We was always Republican. I'm gonna tell you why I say that. Abraham Lincoln, which was a biracial president, had 21 congressmen that were black under him, you know, and they were Republicans, of course. What happened was his vice president, which was a Democrat, took over after he died. So that's how we got infiltrated. So therefore, you know, he tried his best to re-abolish slavery. That's why I don't trust anything that Democrats say. Because if you look at the Democrats now, you can see that a lot of them ain't from here. Just look at it. The white, what I'm saying? The racist white folks gonna put everybody else in power except us. It ain't a lot of us in power. We ain't got no say so. So that's why he left, got his ass. See, he left. They say if you don't want black,
Well, I want to find out who that mysterious left group he was talking about was, if it's not Democrats and it's
it's a Democrat.
left.
It's a Democrat. He don't read. They always say if you don't want black folks to know nothing, put in the book because those niggas ain't gonna read. Well, I read too much. Those they supported segregation. Yep, they did. So that's why I don't fuck with the left. That's why I fuck with the right. That's where we come from. And I'm gonna end on that note. If you ever want to know something, pick the book up and go read it for yourself. Go do some digging. Cause right now, a lot of motherfuckers don't know. Oh, you ain't gonna vote for Kamala? No, I ain't gonna vote for that Kevin. No, she ain't no FBA or no BA, so I ain't gonna vote for the Kevin. The fuck I look like vote for a culture vote. Don't fuck with them. I fuck with BAs and FBAs and Republicans. I don't fuck with nobody else. Nigga, you can be my mama. If you vote for Kamala, I'm not gonna fuck with you. I done lost family behind it. I done lost friends behind it, but I stood on everything that I said. I'm willing to lose more people. Yep, I voted Donald Trump because I know what this motherfucker capable of. He said he gonna get him up out of here. Their ass is going back. You're going back over that wall, whether you like it or not. That goes for the Iranians, the Chinese, goddamn the Russians that's already here. See, they ain't telling people about that. See, they go for the Hispanics too. You're going back over the wall, whether you like it or not. And I know it sounds bad. I know it sounds racist, but I'm an FBA, so I guess I'm the Black Hitler. I guess.
No, it's not racist. They're illegally in the country. They're breaking the law. And they have been over here being arrogant and entitled, talking about give us money and making videos talking about give me $20,000 and I'll leave. Like, really? How
We ain't
about
doing
a foot in the butt?
it's over with, man. That shit dead. That just that shit is beaten. In. Everybody else got their reparations, but we ain't get our shit.
Right, and
So
that's the plan to keep us at the bottom cast.
Right.
You can't acknowledge any type of pain. Going back to what Dr. Chomsky said, you need to manufacture discontent. You have worthy victims and unworthy victims, and the system has painted us as unworthy victims. Should we receive reparations, unfortunately, that would be viewed as a validation of our pain. So that's what we're looking at. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I enjoyed y'all today. I know this.
Real quick,
Go ahead.
before we end the space, I just wanted to circle back on what the space was about black media censorship. A lot of us have a new black media family, and I just wanted people in the space whether you have platforms or not, to be cognizant of speaking and moving codified on social media so that we are able to continue to bring bring this information to each other so that we aren't censored as hard as we normally are. That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, yeah. We had a space the other day, and somebody said something that was almost innocent, but we got kind of punished for it. So we gotta, like Sister Nikki said, we gotta move a little differently. You know what I'm saying? To keep our spaces going. Let's be codified. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I enjoyed y'all tonight, and I'll see y'all again tomorrow.
Especially before you leave, I want to say something to you.
Go ahead.
I remember we was talking about the you know you from Paris Island, I'm from Paris Island, so I know that you said that you was in charge of the drones.
Yeah,
I got
I
something.
train with you guys, but I'm not a Marine. Nah.
Yeah, I got something just for you. I've been working on patents and stuff.
What's up?
You know, I know Kamala been talking about taking people's patents, but she ain't gonna take my patent, so I'm gonna leave it in your hands. You know, weapon manufacturing, I'm stepping into that. So I got a gift for you. I'm not gonna say it on here, but I got a gift just for you.
Okay.
You might like.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I'll see